Hi, Gary Chillingworth here for Airgun World magazine, Shooting and Country TV. Welcome to Life at a Range. I do apologise that we're a few days late with the video, but I was filming on, in the middle of the week for the vid, and everything just wasn't working. And I won't put out a video if I can't be 100% sure that everything is right. So I pulled that video, and that will come on a later date. But today I asked a question on our Facebook page, what would you guys like to see? And there were lots of great ideas, but a lot of them I couldn't do straight away. But luckily, one idea was actually something that we could do, and something I've actually just covered in Airgun World, which will be out in the next issue. Now, before we go any further, I had an email from Ian Spriggans, terrible with names. He wanted me to congratulate Carisbrooke, who are an FT club on the Isle of Wight, and they're going to be hosting the British Open FT Championships this year, which for such a small club is an amazing event. So well done, guys. I'm going to have to try and get over to the Isle of Wight and actually do some shooting out there. Went there many years ago and absolutely loved it. Well, the island, not the FT club, because I've never shot FT in the Isle of Wight. Right, so what are we doing today? Well, today we're looking at a pistol. But what sort of pistol? Well, we've covered pistols in the past. We've got something like this, which is obviously the new Pressy Hole target pistol. It's designed to be shot one-handed, 10 metre, super accurate pistol. We've looked at things like this, which are, this is a Webley Mark 6, absolutely beautiful gun. It carries these sort of bullets that you put the pellets into. Again, CO2. This one is a PCP, this is CO2. And again, absolutely great fun to shoot. But what we've got today is a different animal. Now, a lot of us have had replicas of handguns. I mean, the old CP88s and that, loads of people used to use and were a huge amount of fun. I used to have a Desert Eagle made out of polymer, had the old wheel that you loaded your pellets in and bang, bang, bang. Again, a lot of fun. But this is a different beast. Made out of metal and polymer. It's a blowback pistol that uses magazines. So you drop the mag in, rack the slide, and off you go. So what are we going to do? Okay, so here we have the Springfield Armory XDM. Let's make sure it's clear. Now, the Springfield Armory, or the Springfield XD and the XDM are, if you go to the United States or anywhere else, a full-powered 9mm pistol. You can buy a gun that feels exactly like this, looks exactly like this, and will shoot a 9mm round. And this particular pistol is designed to mimic it almost exactly. As you see, we've got a magazine which just slips into the handle like any standard automatic. We have a safety, a trigger safety on the front. You can see the double little bit here. So you can't just pull one bit back, you've got to pull them both back to get them all the way back. You've got a grip safety on the back, so you can't, so we'll load. So my hand is not pointing on here on the grip safety, just on the front, absolutely nothing. Put the hand in on the grip safety, on that safety, and it will fire. And as you can just see there, we've got a lockout at the back, last shot lockout. That means that we've now expended all of our ammunition. For me, the ability to lock it and just have that coming forward, it's like a fidget spinner for grown-ups. On the front, just underneath here, we also have a full safety which completely locks up the trigger. So when you're storing it, when you're moving away from the gun, I put the full safety on, and so that way if any little fingers or anyone picks it up, there is nothing they can do. But personally, I always like to drop the mag, and just to make sure that everything is clear. Now this pistol shoots steel BBs. And to load the magazine can be a bit of a faff. We have this follower here, which we need to pull back with a thumbnail until we find that gap just there. And then we pour the BBs in. And as you can see here, we've now got around about 20 BBs, and now it's now ready to fire, and we've thrown most of them all over the floor. So we have our pistol, we have our magazine. Now what we want to do is we want to put some air into it. So again, what you do is you've got again a little thing that you slide down here. You slide it down with your fingernail, that slides off, and then underneath there you've got a standard Allen key. You remove that and you put your standard 12 gram CO2 caplet, which I'm sure we have one here. Have your standard 12 gram CO2 caplet straight in, and then you're ready to go. You then, again with your thumbnail, slide this in, and there you go. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. It is not easy getting your thumb or any kind of thing onto this. And I think they need to find some kind of little gripper that you could pull this back and lock it on here. So speak to your favourite 3D printing person, and I think that would be a huge advantage. Now the thing you must remember is, like a standard 9mm, I'll put a round in, I've fired, I've dropped the magazine, but even though it won't fire, and I can do that as many times as I want, because obviously the propellant is in there, there is a round in the chamber. So if you didn't check your gun and you fired your final round and it didn't lock back, empty mag, you then put a CO2 caplet in there into an empty mag, stick it in, give it a rack there, I'll just fire it out, you're going to fire a round. So always, just like you're shooting a live 9mm version, drop your mag and check. Now the question is, how accurate is the XDM even? Well, they tendency, when you're doing things like build drills and things like that in the United States, you shoot at 7 yards. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to set up a target at 7 yards, and we're going to see exactly how accurate this pistol is. Okay, so here we are. We've got the target set out at 7 yards, and let's see how we go. I've got a mark on the target, which I'm going to be aiming at. Oh. Drop the mag, check down the barrel, we're clear. Let's go and grab the target and see how we did. Okay, so here we are. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all within about an inch or so. We've got a couple high, but I think that's down to me. Not really a pistol shooter, but I don't think that accuracy is bad for the type of weapon that we've got. Also, more importantly, the type of ammo. Now, I've got nothing against these hardball steel BBs, but these are budget end of the market. 1,500 are about £6. You can get match steel BBs, and this gun only fires BBs. It does not fire pellets. You can get match ammunition. I think there are copperheads, there are daisies and things like that, but they're a lot more expensive. But that is accuracy. Now let's have a go with what we call a build drill. That is where you have a shoot timer. It goes beep. You draw the pistol up. If you're in the United States, they actually draw from a holster, but we're not going to do that today because I've not been trained to do it. And you're putting your hand on a gun, you're pulling it up, you put it onto a finger. Oh, sorry, you're putting your finger on the trigger whilst you're still there, still pointing at your foot. So I'm going to be having the pistol on the table, picking it up and firing. And a bill drill is you've got to fire 6 rounds within a 11-inch high and a 6-inch wide target, which is known as the A zone, and you need to get all 6 within that A zone within 7 yards. So let's have a go. Let's try a bill drill and let's see how we do. Okay, so we've got a shot timer on my phone, and what this does is it shows you how long and how many shots you take. So let's go for that. You press on start, you then get a beep, you then pick up, you fire, and then when you finish firing, it gives you your time. Problem is, this phone is used to film that target, and I can't do both. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to do it twice, once with the camera pointing at me, and then once with the camera pointing at the target. Tell what we're pointing. Have a round in there. Live weapon. Press start, hand on top of the gun. Okay, so let's see how we did. All a little bit low, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I thought I loaded 6, so there might have been a total miss. And what is our time? Our time is 2 seconds and 11. So let's have another go, and this time we will point the camera at the target. Okay, so here we go, and hopefully I won't shoot my camera. Right, shooter ready. Well, here we can see our next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 5 inches across by 11 down, so they will all be within the correct, you know, for a bill drill, they'd all be within the A zone. Obviously I need to tighten up those groups, but that's actually a lot of fun. So here we have it. We can check the top of the magazine, there's no rounds in it, so we're going to put the magazine back, just going to fire it off. If you want to clear of air, just keep your finger down on the slide release. And then eventually you will hear the air come out, and now you've got an empty pistol. Obviously remove the CO2 cartridge when you're done. It's also recommended when you're loading these pistols with CO2, use a little bit of Pell gun oil on the neck of the CO2 cartridge, and that will keep all the seals moisturised and stuff like that. So let's have a chat about the Springfield XDM. Now, obviously, whenever you are talking about a pistol, the first thing you need to do, drop the magazine, check that it's empty, check that you don't have a round down the barrel, so the gun is safe. Obviously, there is no propellant in it, so no matter what you do, it's not going to fire because there's no air coming out or no CO2. Now, this XDM, this is the colour, so you've got the metal slide and the polymer grip. You can get one in all black, you can get a stubby version. I think this is the 3.8 barrel, you can get a 3.4 barrel version. I went for the full length version because, as in with all pistols, the bigger gap you've got between the front and the rear sights, the more accuracy you're going to get. As we know, it's all clear. We have the 2 white dots there on the front, and we've got a fibre optic sight on the front. So getting target acquisition is very, very easy. You line up the dots with the front sight, and then you shoot wherever you go. Now, these are adjustable. You can basically just slide it back and forward. The front sight is also adjustable, so you can start to really dial in your accuracy. Now, they fire steel BBs. These are just your standard hardball ammunition. They don't cost very, very much. But what you've got to be careful of is what you're shooting at. If you shoot this a metal target at 7 yards, it's going to come back at you. These things ricochet like a mofo. So they're not lead pellets, they're steel, and steel on steel ricochets. So if you're shooting, you shoot paper, you shoot card, you shoot something soft, but obviously make sure, because the rounds will go through, so you need to have a backstop, or you know where the rounds are going to end up. The gun you can take it down. We have a slide, we have a thing here, you slide it up, and you're meant to be able to slide the gun forward. And I spent hours trying to work this out, and it wouldn't come off. See the pin here? That's your striker. Keep that pushed in, and that just slides off. And then you see here is your barrel spring and your barrel, and that's where you can lubricate. And then you just put the slide back on, line it up, slide it back, and there you go. I would, however, recommend, if you don't need to do it, don't do it. I spent hours with this thing. I basically slid the barrel off and I could not get it back on. And what it was, there was a tiny spring inside of here and it had moved, and I couldn't get the thing back on, and I thought I'd broken the gun. But I managed to work it out in the end, and everything was good. The other thing I like is the fact that it comes with a back strap, an extra back strap, so that if you've got a particularly large hand, you can actually increase the size of the pistol grip, so that you can get a perfect grip. But for me, the standard one is absolutely lovely. Ergonomically, this pistol, it feels like a real firearm. I've never shot an XDM. I would like to shoot an XDM or an XD. I've shot Glocks, I've shot 1911s, I've shot quite a few things when I've been out in the States. And if I didn't know that this was an air pistol, I would think that this was a full-on 9mm. The weight is right, the feel is right. When you rack it, it feels like it. And when you aim, the sight picture is exactly that of a full-powered 9mm gun. So if you're going out on holiday to just drop the mag, if you're going out on holiday to Orlando or to anywhere in the States or to anywhere where you're going to be doing some shooting, I would strongly recommend picking up one of these. And you can practice in your garden, at your club, if your club allows steel BBs, and not all clubs do, but you can practice and you'll be able to get your hand position, your eye position, and basically pulling the pistol up so that you're getting into the right position every time. And that will certainly serve you benefits when you go out and start shooting. So yeah, a very efficient, very, very nice handgun. Yeah, be very, very careful with it. Obviously, from a safety point of view, if you're manipulating a rifle, if you're shooting with someone who's inexperienced and you give them a rifle to shoot, it's very difficult for them to manipulate the rifle and point it at someone without you getting to them in time. You give someone a pistol, it's very easy to go, what was that? Pistols are absolutely great. They're huge amounts of fun, but if you're going to have an accident, if you're going to shoot with someone who's inexperienced, maybe they're not the things to start with. I found myself whilst doing this, I wouldn't say I was doing anything dangerous, but I was well aware that it's much easier to make simple mistakes with pistols than it is with rifles. So please be careful when you're shooting with a pistol and just enjoy yourself, because these are a lot of fun. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. We'll see you all again on the range very, very soon, and take care of yourselves. Take care of each other and have a great day. See you soon. Ta-da.